First, I'd like to thank God for, excuse me, giving me this opportunity. I wouldn't be here, without him. I'm grateful to be back in the city, be part of this organization again, play for this staff and be with my teammates. I think we did a lot of really good things at the end of the year and showed what we're capable of. And I'm just excited to be back in that locker room and, start working out with those guys and building that chemistry again here in a few weeks.
Adam, is it exciting for you to just kind of see where Klint Kubiak comes from and how they use their fullback and just kind of what that could mean for you as far as your role in this offense?
Absolutely. I mean, I grew up watching the Niners. I grew up a 49ers fan, so I've seen that system used a lot. And I was able to talk to CJ a couple weeks ago, and just he filled me in on that offense too. And I think it's a fullback's dream, especially in a league that doesn't use the fullback a lot. And I think I'm really excited to get back there and start learning this new system and get ready to go.
Adam, you mentioned you guys were kind of catching your stride late in the season. What do you kind of attribute that to? And, is we talk about, is there any type of carryover, but like, how could you use that from last year maybe to translate to this year?
I think whenever you finish the season on a strong note, I think you definitely carry that momentum in because that's the last thing you remember. Obviously the guys that are, the back, we remember that, remember the success we had. I think that's just motivation and momentum to bring forward and build on. And I think that does attest to just the chemistry we started to build and just the work we put in. Nothing comes easy in this league. Winning is not easy. And I think we just started to catch our stride late. We started to click with each other, and we have a lot of those guys and those pieces back. And I think we're very capable of doing what we did, continuing on what we did at the end of the season, but also going a lot further.
Adam, obviously you don't know exactly how the new offensive system is going to play out, but I'm sure you had conversations about their vision for you and just, after being here for a while, what do you guys kind of agree are the best assets you bring to the team and maybe what's some of the untapped potential still?
I think, my specialty is the blocking. Would say I'm primarily a blocking fullback, but I'm capable of doing the other things. And I've watching Juszczyk, run that offense and block the way he does and perform. I think that's something that I can bring to the table. It's not something I've done in the past, but I think it's something I'm definitely capable of. And that's something I'm excited to start incorporating into the game. I've not been asked to do a lot of those things in the past, but I know I am capable of doing those things, and I'm just excited to see what this offense looks like. I've obviously never been a part of an offense like this, so that's something I'm very excited to get back and start learning.
And I'm sure you noticed that they signed a fullback a week before you re-signed. I mean, what were the conversations like about whether that'll be a competition or whether they actually see room for two in this offense?
I'm sure it'll be a competition. Every year you come into the league, there's always going to be a competition at your position, and amongst the team, competition makes you better. And I'm excited to work with Xander, and I think it's always a good thing when you get around other fullbacks. You can pick their brains, you can learn from each other. Because usually there's not more than one on the roster. So anytime I get around other fullbacks, I love it. We can talk ball. There's nobody else in the league that knows a position like another fullback. But I think also too that there's also competition, amongst yourself, trying to be the best you can be and contribute the most you can, and also trying to keep the position alive. There's not very many teams in the NFL. Some would argue it's a dying position. I disagree, but it's the competition to keep the position relevant and keep it a priority among rosters.
Does that make
Adam,
I wanted to ask you about that in particular. I mean, I don't even know how many fullbacks are on active rosters in the NFL right now. So what's that like going into free agency, knowing there's only a select number of teams you could really realistically land with? What's that kind of feeling like?
I think it's tough. I think there's not, like you said, there's not a lot of opportunity. So that just means you got to make the most of the opportunities you do get and continue to prove ability and your worth on that roster every single day you step in the building, and just keep plowing. I mean, it's nothing that any of us fullbacks in the league have really. It's nothing new to us. There's not many college teams that use a fullback, and there's not many in the league. And we're a tight group, I believe, that we want to keep this position alive, and I think we're doing a pretty good job of it. And that's something that we would like to see grow in the league. And that only happens when we continue to prove that this fullback position is a valuable asset to a team.
Do you
I
know
mean,
Xander at all?
Sorry, what was that?
Do you know Xander at all, the other guy that they brought in, or?
I have not met him. I had followed him a little bit when he was with the Chargers, but I haven't met him yet.
And can you just kind of provide some details on kind of how your deal came about? Like when they signed Xander, did you know like you were still coming back, or was it up in the air? Like what was kind of the timeline like for you in terms of returning?
Yeah, so I had talked to him before I left the building, after the season, and they expressed that they would like to bring me back. That it just because of free agency, take a little bit of time and just got to be patient with the process. But so I knew that there was some interest to them want me to come back, and I expressed that I wanted to come back and be a part of this organization. So I knew it was just a waiting game, and just had to wait for them to reach out and deal with all the the stuff that free agency brought. This is the first offseason I had to experience free agency.
And with so many of, these teams around the league now trying to replicate this offense, that you could call it the Shanahan offense, or what Klint does, like could we see a resurgence of the fullback, you think, maybe a little bit, like given the importance of that position to that offense?
Yeah, I hope so. I think it's been an offense the last few years that has proven to be very effective, and it's a copycat league. Everybody's going to try to do what's working. It kind of just rolls in cycles, and I think this is the cycle, and I don't think it's going to be a short cycle. I think it's going to be a long one. I think teams are going to continue to try to adopt this system in some fashion, and that's what I was saying. Like the more that us fullbacks that are in the league now, like we're building the foundation for those that are coming in behind us and with us, that to build this position, to build this group of guys, and hopefully one year we'll have 32 fullbacks, on starting rosters. So I think this, we carry the weight of the fullback position on our shoulders.
Adam, will you change anything up about just your off-season program, given that like there might be some stuff you're asked to do that you haven't done a whole lot of? Like, will there be any different type of training or different guys you might work with?
Yeah, I mean, I've started, I stick to pretty much the same program in the sense of, strength building and stuff, but, focusing a little more on speed training and, just ball handling. I don't do a ton of ball handling. I know that that's what they've asked, Kyle to do in the past and other guys. And it's something that I'm willing to do, and, just something that I just need to be focused on. Obviously, I've touched the ball a few times the past few years, but, I want to make sure that, when I do touch the ball, I'm being a positive contributor, and just accomplishing everything that I can when I'm asked to do whatever it is.
And will you kind of like study some of the stuff they were doing there, like some of the motions and the routes, and like will that be kind of be part of your process too?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure that a lot of that will start when we get back for OTAs. I don't know what film access I have to yet. That's something, if I can start before we get back, I'd love to. And I'm sure we'll have a bunch of cut ups of tape, so that'll be something I'll just dive into right away once we get our iPads back and I get access to XOs, and I can start watching. I'm excited to learn. There's a lot of great fullbacks that have played in this system that are still playing in the league, and like I mentioned, I talked to CJ a couple weeks ago, so I mean, I'll be picking his brain a little bit, just trying to learn and absorb as much as I can, as quick as I can.
And sorry if this is dumb, but why is the fullback so important to this offense? Like what does that position add? And kind of does it unlock it all in a sense?
Yeah, I think it's the way it's been used in this offense. I think it's versatility. Where somebody can go in there and block, run the ball, catch the ball, motion around. Like the way it's been used, been used in so many different facets that, you know, teams that are playing against it don't know what to expect. And I think that's an edge, because if the fullback comes in and all he's doing is in there to run block, you know it's going to be run play. But if he comes in there, you know, if it's a pass, he's pass blocking, you know, he's catching the ball, he's running the ball. If you have no idea what he's doing, it's an advantage for your team. And the more you can do, the better.
Thank you.
Adam, can you talk what it was like first year with Derek Carr there? And I'm sure going into year number 2, everybody's going to be familiar with him and what to expect.
Yeah, I think Derek's a great leader, a great teammate, and a great player to have on our team. And you know, I think that attributed to some of the success we had late in the season. We all started to click and just mesh. And I think the more time we'll have with him and the rest of this team, and you know, starting in OTAs here in a few weeks, I think it's only going to be a benefit to us. You know, the more we're able to get around each other, you know, and bond and work with each other, I think it's going to be all the benefit for us.